the Miami Hurricanes.
Yes.
They will be in the NFL sooner than later. But the coaching carousel continues to be wild in the league. What more can you tell us?
The Miami Dolphins couldn't give the Miami Hurricanes one day. They had to steal the headlines. Here it is. According to Adam Schefter and other sources, the Miami Dolphins are hiring Jeff Hafley as their new head coach. Hafley was a defensive coordinator in Green Bay the last 2 years. He joins John Eric Sullivan, who is the new GM hire in Green Bay. In Miami from Green Bay. So John Eric Sullivan got hired last week. He would have a say in this, of course. Hafley comes from an NFL background, of course, but was with Boston College as the head coach for 3 years before leaving Boston College to take a demotion of sorts, be a coordinator with the Green Bay Packers the last 2 years. I am told he interviewed very well with not only the Dolphins, but with other teams. Pressure was on. They weren't letting him leave the building. Dolphins ownership is supposed to be at this game today, as is Troy Aikman, who played a role in this hiring.
Yep.
I wonder if Jeff Hafley is in the building tonight.
Epicenter of football today, right here. Miami Dolphins and Miami Hurricanes in the national championship. Schrager, great stuff.
Awesome.
Thank you. Rams survived the cardiac kid Bears again in overtime, 20-17. Caleb Williams, this pass is going to go down in NFL history. But he threw a pick in overtime against MVP favorite Matthew Stafford, marched LA down the field. Game-winning field goal, another instant classic of the playoffs that have been full of them to this point. Number 5 on the starting 5.
Let's start with 4.
Seahawks.
We're still counting, Matt. 4s before 5 on a weekend of drama. The Seahawks had no drama, routing the Niners 41-6. Was not all good news. Adam Schefter reports that running back Zach Charbonnet suffered a torn ACL. He'll have season-ending surgery. Big loss for Seattle. Charbonnet ran for 730 yards and 12 touchdowns this season. The Seahawks set to host the Rams for the 3rd time in their playoff history. Seattle lost in the 2 previous instances. In more recent history, the team split this season with Seattle winning a wild affair in Week 16, overcoming a 16-point deficit in an OT thriller. Matty?
D. Lloyd, I was so excited to get to number 5 in the starting 5. It's the Patriots back in the AFC title game for the first time since 2018. Dare we say the Pats are back? New England picked off C.J. Stroud 4 times, recovered a fumble to beat the Texans 28-16. Drake May threw 3 touchdowns. He did fumble 4 times, but his left tackle, Will Campbell, bailed him out twice. As we welcome in NFL analyst Peter Schrager. You've been working the phones all afternoon with some of the coaching stuff, but the story in this game, Bo Nix injured his ankle, out for the season. Jared Stidham in. Patriots the prohibitive favorite. You're saying don't count the Broncos out of this game, even with Stidham at quarterback. Why?
Jared Stidham was the first free agent signing that Sean Payton greenlit when he became the coach of the Denver Broncos. Jared Stidham is a guy that they have had their eyes on for a long time beforehand. He joined the team. They wanted him in that room. Now they draft Bo Nix. Stidham has been there 3 years, learning the offense, not only being that guy that's in Bo Nix's ear, but almost a coach to Bo Nix in a lot of ways. They love Jared Stidham in Denver, so that when this news came out, they were devastated for Bo Nix. But they weren't packing the bags and saying, all right, well, that's the end of the season. They call him Stiddy. They feel good about Stiddy. And I will add, what's interesting here is that the opposing offensive coordinator is Josh McDaniels, who was with Stiddy in New England and also brought him to Las Vegas. So maybe Stiddy's 2 biggest fans, Sean Payton and Josh McDaniels, are involved in this AFC Championship game.
Look, and we've seen this time and time again in the NFL playoffs in its history. Starter gets hurt, backup comes in, backup rides the wave of momentum. They lean on a defense, and maybe they'll do that as well. I know you're busy with the coaching news. Peter Schrager is going to be all over it here at the National Championship.
Get just how bad the team was before he came along. Buffalo hadn't made the playoffs in 17 straight seasons. The last quarterback to take them there, Doug Flutie. 9 different coaches tried to right the ship and failed. Under McDermott, the Bills, a perennial contender, expectations were raised, but the ultimate prize not reached. Plenty of reaction in our Take 2.
I don't like it at all. I think he's being scapegoated.
I thought this could have happened 3 years ago.
We need to go win. That's basically the sentiment here.
It must have been things behind the scenes.
Look, in a year where the Baltimore Ravens have moved on from John Harbaugh, we knew that anything was certainly possible. And in this particular case, that's what happened here.
You only get so long with Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks to lose.
When you don't meet expectations, all right, things happen in this business.
I have no idea what the Pagula plan is because this morning I was stunned to learn that McDermott's out. 73-27, an NFL best over the last 6 seasons.
I'm surprised that this is the time that they felt like this was the time to move on from McDermott.
This is absolute bullcrap that Sean McDermott lost his job. He's an excellent coach, he's an excellent man, and he should still be leading the Buffalo Bills.
All right, let's get one more opinion. It's our man,
a lot of
Edwards.
opinions.
Yeah, really just a rough weekend for Bills Nation. The loss, Josh Allen in tears, and now Sean McDermott fired a couple days later. Give me your takeaway on this situation.
Well, this is the pattern right now. You know, people lose sight of this. This happened long ago to Andy Reid when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. Winning coach, can never get to the Super Bowl. He goes to Kansas City, he wins the Super Bowl, okay? Mike Tomlin has gone to a Super Bowl. A lot of wins, hadn't been back. Sean McDermott, a lot of wins in Buffalo. Guess what? Haven't gone to the Super Bowl. We got to get rid of the coach. Oh, Coach Harbaugh. How about with the Ravens? Long winning coach. Can't do it with Lamar Jackson. So what happens is when you're in a situation like Sean McDermott, you have Josh Allen. You say, who is it now? Is it the coach's fault or the quarterback's fault? Right now, it's the coach's fault. You get rid of the coach. You bring in a new coach, probably an offensive coach. 3 years from now, if they don't go to the Super Bowl, guess who they're going to get rid of? The quarterback. That's how it works.
Right now, sometimes it's a blessing and a curse to have a great quarterback. And right now, it's a curse for Sean McDermott, but I have a feeling he'll be gainfully
He'll be
employed
working tomorrow.
Allen and the Bills have made the playoffs 7 straight years, have yet to reach a Super Bowl in that time. Herman Edwards here giving us his thoughts on Sean. 5 after their divisional round loss to Denver, the Bills have fired longtime coach Sean McDermott. In McDermott's 9 seasons, the Bills did a lot of winning. 5 division titles, 8 playoff appearances, a couple trips to the conference final, but they never made it to the Super Bowl, and Bills brass felt a change was necessary. Our NFL insider Dan Graziano now with us. So Dan, Josh Allen will have a different head coach for the first time in his NFL career.
Yeah.
Tell us how this went down and what's next for Buffalo.
Obviously, Sean McDermott, from what I understand, did not see this coming this morning. He was calling around last night to talk to coaches on his staff about what potential changes could be made. He goes in this morning and finds out he's relieved of his duties. You know, it's a situation where McDermott built something in Buffalo that hadn't been there. They had missed the playoffs 17 years in a row before he got there. He made it 8 out of 9, but they just felt like they needed somebody else to take them that next step. So they will look at candidates. What's interesting here, though, is they can't interview anybody who's on a team who's coaching for a team that's still playing. So you're going to hear a name like Davis Webb, who is the quarterback's coach of the Broncos, who had played for Buffalo in the tail end of his career. He might be somebody who's of interest, but they can't talk to him until next week, and that's assuming the Broncos lose. If the Broncos were to win the AFC Championship game, they couldn't talk to him till after the Super Bowl. So you'll hear names like him. Joe Brady, their offensive coordinator, they can interview him. He's in the building. He probably gets a look. Brian Flores, the Vikings defensive coordinator, who's a coaching free agent and is up for several jobs, he might get a look. So these things are starting to move. We're getting word actually right now as this show is starting that the Dolphins are closing in on a deal to hire Jeff Hafley, the Packers defensive coordinator, as their new head coach. So we're going to start to see a lot of this sort itself out. But Buffalo is behind the 8 ball on this starting late.
Crazy coaching cycle. We've seen 3 of the 6 longest tenured coaches with their teams move on in one way or another. I guess out with the old, in with the new. Still 8 vacancies left in the NFL. Maybe 7 with the Dolphins. We'll see. Dan giving us the very latest. Matt?